Hi, everybody. I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Joining me now is Forbes contributor Emil Sayegh. Emil, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
You are a cybersecurity expert, so before we dive into the conversation here, give us a little bit about your background.
Absolutely. Yes. I've been a serial CEO of multiple tech companies, been a CEO for about 12 years, over 3 companies. And this latest company that I've led is a cybersecurity services provider. And we have been securing customers all over the world and protecting them against a lot of the cybersecurity threats that have been really active over the last 2 years.
So you're the perfect person then to provide some insight into what happened on Friday when we saw what has been described as the largest IT outage in history. So this global outage disrupted industries ranging from hospitals, government agencies, banks, airlines. How did this happen?
Absolutely. So in the industry, there's something very simple that we call patching. This is when we send updates, and you see those things on your phones, on your computers. We send a patch, we send an update to computers to update the software. And this is exactly what CrowdStrike tried to do. They have agents on a lot of these Microsoft-based computers that are running Windows and servers as well, not just PCs, but also servers. So they have these agents that they install so they can look for nefarious traffic, for bad traffic, for malicious traffic, if you will. And these agents sit on these machines remotely, and then whenever CrowdStrike or any other software provider for that matter wants to update their agents, they send an update. Now, before we do these updates, usually we test them. We test them immensely, make sure that they're not going to cause an outage, that they're not going to have a conflict with the software that's running on these machines. This is usually what happens. Unfortunately, in this case, there must have been some kind of an oversight. Somebody didn't follow process and pushed an update to these agents that are sitting on these machines that had a conflict with the Windows operating system. So what happens is that the Windows operating system started going into a loop, what we call the blue screen of death, right? So that's the nomenclature, the blue screen of death. And then these computers started going into this loop and never properly rebooting, frankly, and that's exactly what happened. All these computers are shut down, servers are shut down until they figured out what the issue is, and they issued a fix for that.
And no one wants to see a blue screen of death. That's especially for certain, especially on a Friday. But a lot of industries came grinding to a halt today. Everything from broadcasts to airlines, transportation, hospitals. What do you think it says that this type of outage could impact such critical industries?
You know, this is how delicate our infrastructure is. And this is what I keep writing about in Forbes, is that we have to make sure that we don't over-rely on technology, and especially AI technology is the next thing. You know, we got to make sure we don't over-rely on a lot of these technologies. We have to build redundancy in our systems. As you saw, a lot of the Windows computers were down. In this case, you know, people have to think about a hybrid approach to potentially their operating system, hybrid approach to their to the software that they're deploying, so that they don't put all their eggs in their basket. They have a level of redundancy. I think a lot of people are taking technology for granted. A lot of executives are taking technology for granted. CIOs are taking technology for granted, and putting a overweight belief in the fact that it was built in a redundant manner.
So how do you become less reliant then on this type of technology as a CEO and not take it for granted? Because no one wants to show up to the airport and their flight not work because they're getting the blue screen of death.
Yes, absolutely. The way you do it, first of all, is that the patching that is going on, this is I would say, one of the mundane tasks in IT. This is a very basic blocking and tackling task. We do that all the time. You know, we have to put proper change control mechanisms before we push these updates out, especially on a large scale. So companies like CrowdStrike, companies like Microsoft and others, before they push an update or before they allow an update, they have to certify that that update works, and that it's not going to cause an outage like this. On a second level, we also have to diversify technologies. We have to be able to use virtualization to our advantage. We don't necessarily, we can basically, we have the technology to switch from one technology to the next, or have certain systems that could run on Linux, or run on other technologies other than just Microsoft if we so choose. So there has to be some hybrid approach to the technology deployments on the operating system, on the hardware, on the software, as well as whenever a change like this happens, we have to have a mechanism by which we can back out of these changes, back out very, very quickly, and know exactly what was that last change that happened so that we can back out of it.
So, Emil, to your point about putting all of their eggs in one basket, what do you think this means? Because it was able to affect so many services, should they have different, should they diversify their cybersecurity? I mean, what does that look like?
Absolutely. They should diversify their operating systems. They should rely on virtualization technologies such as virtual desktops, so that they're able to switch from one operating system to the next. They should be also, from a cybersecurity posture, I think one has to approach cybersecurity with a comprehensive approach. Having multiple providers, is a double-edged sword, because then you get into finger pointing between the providers, who caught what and what not. However, whoever provider that they pick needs to have good patching hygiene, good IT system update hygiene. This is not acceptable, what has happened. Although it does happen every once in a while, but it's never happened at this scale. And this just shows how much we've let lax IT practices start to dominate the way we operate. So we got to go back to basics, and software patches need to be checked, triple checked by both the company that is pushing those patches as well as the operating system that is allowing those patches to come in.
I want to get your reaction to what CrowdStrike CEO George Kurtz posted. He said this in part after the outage today. Quote, "Today was not a security or cyber incident. Our customers remain fully protected. We understand the gravity of the situation and are deeply sorry for the inconvenience and disruption." What are your thoughts there on what he said?
Well, I mean, my counter to that is that we have to take ownership. I've been in those shoes before. Over 12 years as CEO, and before that as a general manager of a very high volume a cloud computing platform. I've been in those shoes before. One has to be contrite. We have to go figure out what went wrong. We have to do really true root cause analysis and not brush over it and sweep it under the rug. We got to figure out how this never, ever can happen again. So my comment to him is that this is not a minor inconvenience. There were multiple people who were scheduled for surgeries today who were not able to get their surgeries done, which is frankly a pretty grave life and death situation. So this is not just an inconvenience where somebody misses their flight. This is actually, we're putting people's lives in danger just because of our dependencies on all these technologies. So my advice is to really be contrite, go figure out exactly what happened, be honest with yourself, with your customers, with your employees, so that this can never, ever, ever happen before.
I hear you raising the alarm here. Do you think this is a wake-up call?
Absolutely. This is a wake-up call. I do think that many folks in the IT and tech field have been putting a lot of stock into technology and thinking that it's flawless. And today is a major wake-up call because, as you saw and you pointed out, people People couldn't have their operations done, when they were scheduled. Could be a life and death situation. So, people need to understand in the IT industry in general. This is an admonition of everybody in the IT industry to make sure that we realize that what we are doing matters. What we are doing, it can be the difference between life. This is not about not being able to play a video game or somebody not being able to pay for their coffee with their credit card this morning, right? This is not about that. This is about things that matter, that are differences between life and death. And I do think that a lot of IT professionals don't think of their jobs as that. They think of it as, software or pushing updates and zeros and ones. But, we have to take a step back and realize how pervasive IT technology and how dependent we are on IT technology, and make sure that we realize that, we are causing major harm when we don't take proper precautions, best of breed precautions. Industry standard precautions in pushing software and updating software.
I think to your point, even today I ordered a coffee on my way to work and that system was down, so I didn't get a coffee this morning. But that's no big deal compared to someone who's either getting on a flight or even worse, getting a surgery. So do you think that this indicates that there shouldn't be such a blanket technology here and that it should be more niche, because the world can't come to a grinding halt based on one technological bug?
Bingo, exactly. And I think the issue that we have is that with AI is making it look so seamless. It makes it look so believable, that we are trusting it. Many people are trusting it blindly just because it looks and sounds good. It doesn't mean that it's accurate. It doesn't mean that it is the truth, right? The output that we're getting from AI machines. And then same thing I would say with technology. And when it comes to performing life-saving measures in general, we can't forget the fact that we have to go back to basics and make sure that we know how to do things without the help of technology. Today it was an IT outage. Could it be a power outage tomorrow? Could it be an internet outage tomorrow? Could it be a true cyber attack that cripples us? So we have to be able to do most life-saving things without the help of technology. So that would be my parting words for the folks that are not in the technology field, is that don't over-rely on technology. Surgeons, please still know how to operate without the help of technology tools. And flight controllers, please don't forget how to land planes safely without the help of technology tools, etc.
I think that's a really good reminder, because even I got a few emails from various workout classes saying, hey, here's a reminder of how to sign up for a class without the app. And it's crazy that people don't remember how to do this stuff when we didn't have this our entire lives. But how do you ensure that this type of thing doesn't happen again?
Yeah, for sure. Just like I said, on pushing out the patches that CrowdStrike did, they have to go back to basics from an IT perspective and double check their patches, triple check them. And then on the recipient side, on all these machines and all these operating systems that are receiving these patches, they need to have a guardrail and an assurance, a handshake that says, okay, these patches have been tested on this operating system so that they're not causing outages again. However, as you well know, if issues happen again, we have to be prepared as professionals, each in our field, to be able to operate without the assistance of technology, at least for a certain amount of time, for a certain period of time. Just like hospitals have generators, we have to be able to operate our functions, especially when it comes to saving lives, without the help of technology.
Emil, I appreciate your time today. You're welcome back any other time. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.